First love yourself before anyone else. First love yourself by Trinisha Cottrell.
Hi, I'm Trinisha Cottrell, and this is First Love Yourself, the place where Christ meets for self-love, self-care, and healing. Today we're going to talk about how to let that ex go. But go ahead and grab your pen and paper and a blanket and get comfortable because we are about to get into it. Let's go. Okay. So it's about how to stop worrying about your ex, but I'm just saying let it go because you gotta let that stuff go. But that's neither here nor there. So earlier today, I was really thinking about how I could help people, and I was thinking, I hear a lot of people tell scenarios about like their ex, and they'll start talking about different stuff like, oh, well, this person did this, and I see them online and they're posting with this girl, they in a relationship, and it's only been 3 months and they getting married and all the things, right? And I hear people say this all the time, and they're like, how is it that he could do that with this person and he couldn't do that with me? And a lot of girls online or a lot of women or men online would say, well, that's because you weren't, or whatever. They would try to point the finger at you and make it seem like you did something wrong. And I'm not saying that we're perfect, but I'm saying that how about we shift our perspective and really think about focusing on ourselves? Like, I know you don't want to hear that and you're like, but it's not fair. And I invested so much time in him. And it just seems like I did all of these things right. And I was a real one. I was a rider. All the things, right? But I'm here to tell you there will be someone that will appreciate that. And even though that person didn't, or whatever else the situation is, maybe you messed up, maybe you didn't mess up. God has so much more for you than that. Whatever you think an unrealistic relationship or an unrealistic way of being treated is, I promise you there will be a guy out there that will treat you that way. I know sometimes we don't like to think about that because when you're thinking about your ex, that's the only thing you can think of. You're thinking about how bad you feel in the moment because your heart's broken. And when you're in it, it's hard to see anything past that, which is why I'm here. I'm here to help you see past the heartbreak. Like, when you're going through it, it's so tough. I know, like, it feels crazy. You feel like, oh my gosh, I done did so many things, and it just feels like everything's going wrong, or like I really knew the family. I got to this point, or I really wanted this to work out because he seems like a nice guy. Listen, oof, I guess I gotta tell you a story. There was a time a long time ago, like years ago, probably 2, 3 years ago, where I had met this guy, and he was one of the nicest guys I've ever met in my entire life. And I just couldn't understand why God wouldn't allow it to work out. I was really beating myself up. I was like, well, I did this and I didn't do this thing and I did that, but I didn't do this. And the list goes on and on and on. And why do we do that to ourselves? Like, why do we constantly criticize ourselves for something that we have no control over? We can control ourselves, but we cannot control another human being. You can try to, but you're wasting a lot of energy that you can pour into yourself. Like, I know it's tough to hear it that way, but it's really important for you to understand that you are important. You matter. You matter to God. You matter to this world. You were created for a purpose. I don't think you understand that everything that you have inside of you, maybe you couldn't accomplish that with that person. Sometimes God removes people because he has something else for you, and you can't take that person with you to the next level. Maybe there's some work, some training, something, some testing, some trials, some tribulations that you have to go through so that you can be formed into the person that God always intended for you to be in life. It's not always easy, and yes, it sucks. Like, can I say that and be like real and clear and transparent in that moment? It really sucks. Getting your heart broken, things not working out the way that you wanted to, really, really sucks. But it's okay to feel that, like, feel angry, feel sad, feel all the things. And after you have a moment, 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever you allot, a time you allot, I wouldn't suggest more time than that to like really just ball all out. Then let it go. You really have to know that it gets better. Like, that moment is not forever. Sometimes when we in the heartbreak, it feels like you always gonna be heartbroken. Like, oh my gosh, I'm never gonna find somebody else, but you will. You look good as I don't know what. Like, I don't think you understand that you're beautiful inside and out. And if you're working on yourself, you are gonna be a blessing to someone else. So in the meantime, continue to work on yourself so that when God sends this person who will treat you incredibly well, that you will be willing to receive it, because the thing that you don't want is to not do the work and then feel undeserving of a good person. You want to make sure that you keep building yourself up so when God sends a good person in your life, you can accept it graciously, thankfully, and really be open to accepting it. Because sometimes we be blocking our own blessings. We be the ones like, oh no, God, I done messed up so much. I don't deserve this thing. Oh no, God, you trying to give me this, but oh, that's okay. Like, we really be trying to talk ourselves out of the blessing or block the blessings that God's trying to send in our life. God sends us an opportunity for a job and we're like, oh no, God, I'm good in this position. And God's saying, I need you to go there because there are people that need you in this position. They need to see you with your faith. They need to see you working hard. They need to see you continuously keeping your mind stayed on me and going after your dreams, because there's going to be a daughter of this person who's going to want to work with you in the future. There's going to be this opportunity, these doors that I'm going to open up in this new position, but I can't do it while you stay stagnant. You cannot stay in the past and then move forward as well. I was reading Isaiah 43 yesterday, today, and it started talking about forgetting the things, the former things, and keeping your mind stayed on the future. And I'm paraphrasing. That's not word for word in the Bible, but yes, it says forgetting those things that were behind, the things in the past. And it's saying when you forget those things, that God will open up a door for you. He will create opportunities for you. He will make a way in the wilderness. He will, in the mudlands and like the swamps, he will make a path, like a stream or a clear way for you. But you have to stay focused. You have to continue to keep moving forward in your life in order to get those things. Because the only thing in the past, somebody said this, and it's a major key alert. They said if you continue to, the only time that you should ever focus on things in the past is when you're thinking about all the blessings and the things that God has already got you out of. That's the only time you think about anything from the past. Everything else in the past needs to stay there, because you're going to need to remember how good God is when you're going through the next trial. You're going to have to know how good God is when you're feeling heartbroken. You're going to need to know how good God is when you're going after something else and it's difficult or it's uncomfortable. You're going to have that strength from all of those past things to be able to push you into the person that God always intended for you to be, so that you can be in full purpose. So when you look forward, that new guy, that new woman that you've been praying for is going to be right there, because you're not focused on the past anymore. You really have to continue to move forward. And I don't know why this is dropped in my spirit, but there's that person that's like, well, I feel like that really was the one. Listen, you have to leave it in God's hands. If that's really the one, God will bring that person back. And I'm not saying it to give you false hope, because I don't want all the people watching this video to think that person's coming back. I need you to keep moving forward as if he's not coming back, as if she's not coming back, as if you won't get another opportunity for that relationship. And then that will allow the opportunity for another person to come into your life. Because if you hold on to the hope that this other person is coming, when God gives you your husband, your wife, your kingdom spouse, you're going to be thinking that they're not the person, because you're going to have this idea, this fantasy about this old person that's not even supposed to be a part of your future. So you have to continue to move forward. And then if that person meets you in the future, then that was God's plan. And you'll know that it's from God when you use discernment, when you really pray about it. Don't just say, I really wanted him, so now he's mine, and we're both single at the same time. You really have to pray, use discernment, and then if y'all single at the same time and God gives you a yes, you go for it. Don't ask the person that was a big fan of your ex if you should be with this person, because they're going to tell you yes, of course. Don't ask the person that hates the ex whether you should be with this person or not, because they hating on the relationship. They're not going to give you good advice. You have to take it to God. You really have to make sure that with the purest of intentions, with the purest of hearts, you're asking God for a clear answer, not what you want to hear, but what the real answer is, so that He can give you direction in your life. And that is how you will continue to move forward. Continue to focus on yourself, because you got this. I know it's difficult in the beginning, but I promise you, you made it through all those other things in your life. You can make it through this as well. Remember that you are stronger than you think that you are. That you have everything that you need inside of you, and you can be everything that God intended for you to be. You just have to keep moving forward, keep going, keep believing in yourself, keep trusting in God, keeping your mind focused on Him, keep knowing that you are enough, keep knowing that you are a holy nation, a royal priesthood, more precious than rubies. Keep knowing that you are favored. But in order to become favored, you have to continuously work on yourself. Continue to love yourself. Know that God loves you. And remember to love yourself. Bye.